For those of you who don't know me, I'm Elizabeth Caputo. I am the former chair of Manhattan's Community Board 7 on the Upper West Side, and I have lived and worked in Manhattan for 25 years. I am currently still working. I work full-time at the World Economic Forum, which is, I work with Mayor Gallego quite frequently on certain issues related to cities. And I bring a decades-long career in infrastructure finance with municipalities and also community organizing. I went to Harvard for my undergraduate, Harvard Business School, but my one constant throughout a lot of jobs, apartments, yes, even relationships, has always been Manhattan. I currently live on the Upper West Side with my partner, Jose, who's in the other room taking care of our dog, Bruno, right now as we're talking tonight. So I want to give him a shout out too for being an amazing partner. And yes, I am running to be your next Manhattan Borough President. My mission is pretty simple. It's really neighborhood and local focused, and we need to save our neighborhoods. It's a very local theme for this campaign. I believe we can do that by making the borough more affordable, helping our small businesses, getting students back to school in person, which is one of the key issues that I have been fighting out and been in front of amongst all the candidates in this race, and also addressing quality of life issues. So, you know, as Madeleine said, there are a lot of issues really pertinent to women that I know we're going to dig into tonight. As she said earlier, it's so important. Childcare, family leave, making sure there's affordability for families across the economic spectrum. This is something that holds back women at every level, from entry level to C-suite. And also, one of the reasons I'm running is because I've seen a lot of inequities that have happened in Manhattan over the last year, and certainly over the last decades that I've lived here. Women and women of color especially are forced to drop out of the workforce. The pandemic has brought that out in even more glaring form. There are 2.5 million nationwide and 600,000 in New York. It's systematic. It's both sexism and racism. And we need to center any woman and any candidate who's running needs to really acknowledge the gaps in wages, healthcare, environmental injustice. Those are things that I want to work on as borough president. I don't believe that we can restore Manhattan to the same status quo. And we can't do it also by promoting the same elected officials that we elect and elect and elect. I also want to acknowledge tonight that our city council in New York City is 1/4 women. Our city has not had a woman mayor in 109 years, ever. We've never had one. And we've never had a female governor. Women of color still make 70% for every dollar that men make in the city. And as I mentioned, the pandemic has really exacerbated that pay gap. So again, everything from the school closings to rent issues, there are so many challenges that women are facing now in Manhattan, and they're pervasive everywhere we look. There's also the issues of harassment and discrimination in the workplace that have forced out the workforce to care for family. So again, when I look around Zoom and I see so many success stories, I also see a lot of obstacles. I want to be that woman who can get things done. My track record has really been one of getting things done for Manhattan, whether it's been as running a very large community group, DL21C, whether it's been as the longest serving Manhattan Community Board Chair, or whether it's been working and spending a career bridging the private and public sectors and the global and the local. We want to get the job done. Women can do it, and I want to be that person. So tonight, I know we're going to talk about a lot of things. I really have 3 simple asks for all of you. I hope all of you will support my candidacy and continue to work with us as we get our message out across Manhattan. I need you to vote first choice for me on June 22nd. We have a primary that's coming up on June 22nd. I'm asking, obviously, I have qualified for matching funds for New York City. I am hoping that you will all contribute, if you haven't done so, up to $175 to my campaign. Those are matchable from any resident who lives in New York City. And I'm asking you that you can tell your friends tonight. And after we have this conversation, we'll be doing more of these throughout the next 2.5 months. It's going to be women that win this campaign, and I'm counting on you, and really, again, incredibly grateful for your time tonight and the chance to talk with you over the next 20 or 25 minutes. Thank you again, and let's get started. Thanks.
So happy to be here, Elizabeth. I've known, if we're all running down the how long have you known Elizabeth, I've known her since 2007, when I think we organized a bus trip to the primaries for the 2008 campaign. So I know, Elizabeth, you touched on this a little bit, but I was hoping you could chat a little bit more about what plans or policies the city can and the borough president can do to help women who have really had a super challenging year in the pandemic as a result of job losses / pay gaps / having to drop out and become mommy teacher, and in the city that's going to be on this like pretty slow recovery, and with the hope that women won't get left behind from the conversation.
Sure. It's a great question, Rhea. I hope I'm off mute. I think I am. It is a great question, and it's something I am thinking about every single day from talking to people when I'm out responsibly. I'm out, double masked. I've spent a significant amount of time throughout the borough, and people think of Manhattan as being a very wealthy borough, which it is. It's the largest central business district, arguably in the world, certainly in New York City, in New York and in the country. But there's really, the inequities are very stark, and we've seen it throughout the course of this pandemic. Again, as Rhea, as you described, the women who are being forced to drop out of the workforce. I've talked to women of all stripes, especially women of color, who are forced to make a change and make a decision about whether they can afford to keep their kids at home, give their kids a device that they oftentimes don't have or can't afford, but they can't afford to remote learn and have somebody there for them. So one of the things I've been really focused on is making sure that whoever is elected borough president recognizes that there are literally 60,000 school children without a laptop throughout New York City. Many of them are in Manhattan, particularly in the uptown areas above 96th Street, who can't remote learn, and their parents have been essential and frontline who have had to go into work every day. That is something we have to correct. Also above 96th Street, you notice a huge, what I call sort of an environmental injustice gap, where there are decisions made about how things get built, whether it's a water treatment plant or how people are getting access to technology or Wi-Fi, that is just absolutely not fair, and something that disproportionately disadvantages young people and women of color. Whoever becomes the next borough president really needs to focus on that. I think that Gail Brewer is our current borough president, and she's been amazing. But on everything from air quality, parks, things that parents and children and families really care about, and women, those are all things we really need to focus on.